Hello, Year 6. We miss you very much. We know that you are at home while we are here, and we hope that you had a wonderful time off and that you're doing okay at home with your families. Today is Tuesday, the 5th of January 2021. You can expect a video from us every day to say hello. In Spanish, martes 5 de enero. Happy New Year! Feliz Año Nuevo! This is what your day looks like today. Let's start with a math starter, and then you're going to go off and do some Rockstar. If you have some problems and you can't get onto Rockstar, you need to call the school or email your teacher, and we will let you know your login or change it for you if necessary. We're going to do a quick fractions recap. That's your maths lesson today. You'll find all the work you need on Google Classroom. Again, if you can't access Google Classroom, you need to call the school or email your teacher so that we can give you that information. Then you're going to take a little brain break. I have suggested some star jumps, some burpees and 10 sit-ups, but you can always put a just dance on instead. Then we're going to do literacy. We're looking at a book called Friend or Foe, and there's a video all about that as well. Then we're going to take a little break and do whatever you want in that break. Then we're going to move on to our topic lesson. We're looking this time at World War II, and so we're going to be thinking about what we know about it and how that war started and why. Then it's lunchtime, and after lunch we'll be doing a little bit of writing, and then your first day will be done. So don't forget to check the work on Google Classroom and upload all the work. You can press turn it in for any work that you've done. There are also extra activities on Seesaw, and the code for that is also on Google Classroom. And remember, you can also look at White Rose Maths. So this is your starter, maths starter, the jumping frog. A frog has fallen into a pit that is 30 metres deep. And each day the frog climbs up 3 metres but falls back 2 metres at night. How many days does it take for him to escape? Here are a few admin things to help you while you're working from home. There'll be videos every week put onto YouTube, just like last time it was lockdown, and we expect you to be looking at those following the work on there. The work that you need to do will be on Google Classroom. You should know how to log on. If you don't know how to log in, remember to contact your teacher to be able to get your information. You will also be able to turn in your work on Google Classroom. We'll expect you to follow that, get it turned in, so we can mark it and help you with anything. We will be calling you throughout the week to check in with you and see how you're doing with the work and answer any of your questions and give you extra guidance. So make sure you're doing the work so that we can help you with that. And remember to stay healthy, stay active and get outside. This week's PSCD target is healthy relationships. We've written C is for consent. So I'm going to leave you to read that, and there will be a PSCD lesson for you later in the week. And so to our fractions recap. You can see here I've written fractions. What do they look like? What are they? How do they work? And making links to other parts of maths. So what does a fraction look like? Well, a fraction has a numerator, a line across, and a denominator. The numerator is the part of the denominator. The denominator shows you how many parts it has been split up into. So, for example, this has been split up into 2 parts, halves, and one of them is coloured in, so it is a half. Now in this case, This has also been split up into two parts, but it's not in halves because they are not equal. So fractions have to be equal. You might see a fraction written like this. You might see an improper fraction where the numerator is bigger than a denominator. But fractions are parts of whole numbers, they're not whole numbers. A fraction is division. So 1/2 means 1 divided by 2. 1 split up into two parts. That's what fractions mean. So if you see 3 halves, it is 3 split up into 2. 1, 2, 3 split up into two parts is the same as 1.5. Now, how do they work? Well, they work as division. This is 1 divided by 3. 1 divided by 3 is thirds. Interestingly, when we're splitting up numbers and we're finding fractions of a whole, this will be also very important. If this whole one here was 30, then a third of 30 is 30 divided by 3. So each one of these parts is 10. So fractions work by dividing. Fractions can be linked to many other things. Can you think of any? Here is an example where 3/4 can be written as a decimal, 0.75. But it could also be written as a percentage. Can you think about what percentage that would be? Is it 10%? Is it 60%? Is it 33.3%? It's 75%. You see fractions in everyday life. I've got my Uno hand here. I've got 7 cards in total. Now, what fraction of my hand is yellow? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 7. 4 out of 7 is written as 4/7. We use common denominators for many things in fractions. The denominator is the number on the bottom. Can you think of some things that we use common denominators for? So we use it for adding fractions, subtracting fractions, and comparing fractions. And for each one of these, you need to find a common denominator. A common denominator. So what would be a common denominator, for example, of 3 and 4? You need to think of your multiples, that's your times tables. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 4, 8, 12. Oh, 12. So your lowest common denominator would be 12. And you would change each of these to 12ths. Now, what did you do to change 3 to 12? You multiply by 4. And whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So here we would multiply by 4, 8. Here, what did we do to turn 4 into 12? From 4 to 12, we times by 3. What would go on top? What would go on top? See if you're faster than me. Multiply by 3, 27. So you'd be adding 8 and 27 to get your answer. Now see, the common denominator has already been found for you, so you should be able to do this one as well with a subtract. Make sure you're looking at what you're being asked to do at the operation in the middle. And the last thing is for comparing fractions, to find out which is bigger between 13 thirds and 14 halves. So again, we'll be looking for a common denominator.